right up in there. Crime Buster is third with Liberator in fourth. There you get a good shot of Brad Cox and J.D. D'Elia in breakaway, the S44. They are leading this one. Here you can see our lady driver, Kim Jernigan, who's a senior at the University of South Florida in Tampa, Florida. They are aboard Panama Jack and doing a fine job right now in second place.
Here's your leader in Stock B, fully involved, and Dick, these smaller class boats are going to have to watch out for the Atlantic today.
I think all the boats are going to have some problems out there. Let's go back up to the front of the pack in our super boats. Look at Ben Kramer coming on in the center of your screen right there. Between those two boats on the far outside, it's Popeye's. The white boat on the inside is the Gentry Turbo Eagle. And here you got a couple catamarans against the V-bottom, and the V-bottom's the one that's jumping.
That's right, and it's, of course, doing a little shine walk there. Brand new boat, Baptism of Fire, for Ben Kramer. And, of course, here's the guy to beat, Popeye's Al Copeland. And he's been a terror all season in the big superboat class.
And traditionally, he runs faster and better as the race goes on, and he lightens that boat up on the fuel load. Here's Gentry Turbo Eagle. He said watch him on the turns. He wasn't going to have any turbo lag at all in there. Well, right now he's not lagging at all, but he is riding in third place.
And in fourth place, from the state of New Jersey, hometown boy, it is, of course, Tim Sully in the Maxon.
Oh, you'd think he'd know this water pretty well, and he's obviously not afraid of it. He's taking the boat to its full extremes. Open class leader Craig Berry of the Silver Bullet heads a three-man crew. Can you imagine trying to communicate in a race like this?
You know, guys that work together, there's about 10 sentences we can say to each other, and there's about 5 gestures, which all mean the same. So that's what we kind of do. I mean, we have a rhythm out there, so we kind of know what each other's trying to communicate.
Well, the communication obviously is working. They are leading now in the open class.
And a boat that's giving chase is from Michigan Systems with Robert Kaiser and Errol Lanier, who put brand new engines in Lake St. Clair and tested last week.
And what's it like down on the deck, on the water? Let's go inside the boat number 15, Spirit of America, over the shoulder of John Antonelli. Look at that fog. You can imagine why navigation is so important in this race.
We have 3 different types of compasses on my side of the boat that gives us navigational aid, which does work, and it works very well. So we don't really have a whole lot of problem, but it is interesting.
You could see inside the cockpit a few moments ago that was almost like a fog over the windshield, and that is a problem, but it's actually a haze. It doesn't even show up from the helicopters. But there's Spirit of America. John Antonelli is the driver of that boat. Boy, what a ride they are getting out there today.
At fourth place is the 77 Thriller. Ed Martinez and Jack Clark teaming up. The water's not getting any better.
No, it certainly isn't, and the haze continues to close in on them. And look at that shot now. You can see how close the competition is in that class. These boats are changing constantly. You're watching Offshore Racing at its best, and we'll return to the HFC Pro Series and Atlantic City right after this. Before we go back out onto the course for all the offshore action, let's take a look at this Atlantic City, New Jersey. Excitement, nightlife, that's what it's all about. Casinos have made a big difference in Atlantic City. People come from all over the United States to enjoy the fun and all the activities that happen in this great city. As far as the race was concerned, Jim, this was one of the most important meetings of all, a course that is now proving to be a navigational nightmare.
Now, these meetings are very important, Dick, because they must check all the navigational aids, and it's a gala a week. I mean, there's more to it than just the race. There's the pageantry, there's good music, good food, fun, little gambling if you are so inclined, and it all leads up to race day, where then it becomes serious business.
It certainly is serious business out on the course right now. These folks had a great time building up to what they are seeing right now. This is the Jolly Rancher. He is leading Michael Drury out of New Orleans, Louisiana in the modifieds.
And currently, following the Jolly Rancher in second place in the modified class is the M7, the Baja Bandit 2, and I think our helicopter camera should pick that up. Whoa, is he getting a ride, Dick?
Trying to keep both hulls in the water is proving to be a little bit of a problem out there on the course, and the course is not getting any better. Visibility continues to close down. What a great shot, and looking at the front end of the Baja Bandit, John DeLee in Special Edition is leading in the points, running third in this race now, wants this win.
As you know, we're in first place. We had a sort of a disastrous situation in the last race in Sarasota. I made a classic screw-up, a navigational error. I misinterpreted the instructions, and I missed a checkpoint, cut the course by 10 miles. Even though we won the race, we were put back where we belong in 5th place. I can assure you one thing, we won't make that mistake again, but we're going out there to win again because we'd like to repeat this race like we did last year and also repeat the national championship again.
John DeLeo, Board Special Edition. Here's a guy you want to know pretty well, Jim.
Hi, he's my neighbor in Mount Clemens, Michigan. Bob Carrick is the driver. Also the navigator from Mount Clemens, John Avery, and Mark Olin from New Baltimore, Michigan.
They are having a good run on the clocks. They are running 4th in position right now on the field.
Look at this, Dick. Now we're getting fog in this part. We get reports that it's clear on the other end of the course, so it's unpredictable weather coming in.
But one thing that is predictable is the seas, and right now they are very rough. The throttlemen are getting a little bit of a test as you're looking down on the P-177 Bandit. That boat is now leading in the pro stock. Second place will be the Miss Don Q, and this boat's been fighting it all the way.
This boat is always challenged, but yet has not been successful in taking the checkered flag first yet this year.
The one boat that is riding now in 3rd is a surprise 3rd place right at the moment, but he's probably pacing himself for later in the race. There you see him, Nicky Kutro, and he's aboard Boardwalk, and you can see he's got a challenge on the outside. Look at that battle for 3rd place. Laser Express now just starting to nose him out as Kutro goes high in the air.
Boy, they have their work cut out for them today. John Ingo and Milton Lipschutz are really on the ragged edge to pass Nicky Kutro and that Boardwalk team.
What a battle that is for the water that is so rough out there now. These two boats are really battling all out. In 3rd place, it is Laser Express, and now in 4th, it's Boardwalk. In 5th place, this boat, the Ocean Outboard Skater. They're doing a fine job of holding in, but look at the top of the screen. There's one of the modified boats running off pace. That's American Dream. Here's the boat that now is in 6th place, Team Skater, the P7. Larry Vandermeet and his crew members are getting a fairly decent ride in this boat.
Some of the guys stand up in the boats to absorb the shock with their knees. Others sit down, and it's really spine-jarring.
Breakaway is back and currently running in 1st place. It looks like JD's shoulder injury didn't put him out of action for very long.
Well, we've been doing a lot of therapy. I've been going to therapy for about 3 weeks and working on it for about 2.5 hours a day. Work stretching and working out with Nautilus and things like that to get my shoulder back for full power and stretching mode. But we're pretty good right now. It feels good.
Well, JD and Brad had decided if the shoulder started bothering him too much, they would pull out of the race. Obviously, they have not done that. They are now leaders in their class.
Here's John Henry Falk on the team with a high risk. Here is Twin Merc Outboards. They're getting a pretty good ride for that small boat.
A couple of tough competitors in the S77. Back in Stock B, the S16 fully involved is the leading boat right now. This is the father and son team, the Sorrentinos. And that boat is so small, you know they've got to be taking some real hard hits up there.
And they're standing up, you see. They're absorbing the shock with their knees, as I described earlier.
And probably getting a little better ride because of the deep V hull through these waves. First place is fully involved. Liberator, the S21 second. KK goes now riding in 3rd. We'll continue with more from the HFC Pro Series Offshore Grand Prix in Atlantic City after this. Off Atlantic City, New Jersey, there you see the Popeyes helicopter. You know the boat is just below it, and there is the #1 Popeyes, Al Copeland, Stan Ware, and Bill Saroy. They are leading in the superboats.
But they're not too far ahead of the Gentry Turbo Eagle, currently running in 2nd place and getting a very rough ride, Dick.
We tend to forget with the size of these boats how they fly out of the water, the tremendous weight of these boats. You can imagine the size of the power plants in them to get that much power to throw the boat in the air like that.
Woo! The 3rd place boat right now is this boat, the Apache with Ben Kramer.
He's the National Open champion, has a new superboat. This Deep V isn't equipped with the new safety canopies.
Well, we don't race with capsules in the V-bottoms, or we don't think it's a good idea. The new cat that we'll be out with later on in the season has the capsule built in it and has the water deflection shields built into the boat also, just like the one in Marathon. But in the V-bottoms, we don't recommend it, and we think it's
even ridiculous to even think about putting harnesses in a V-bottom.
Jim, I don't know if you saw, but while Ben Kramer was talking, you could see that there was a spectator boat actually on the course between two of those opens.
We're getting reports on the radio right now that the spectator boats are starting to cause a problem in some fog areas of this course, and they're going to have to be negotiated, or they'll have to shut this thing down.
This is Craig Barry in the open class boats, and he is leading in the Silver Bullet. Here's the systems, ACR systems, Bob Kaiser. Again, a very rough ride for this boat. Jim talked about the spectator boats, and they are not at anchor because the water is so rough. They are drifting, and apparently we're getting reports they are drifting out onto the course where these boats are. Look at this shot again. You can see it's cleared up just a little bit ahead of John Antonelli, but as we said, it is patchy mist that is sometimes heavy, sometimes light on the course.
And right now, John Antonelli is currently in Sprint of America, running in third place, while the Thriller, the number 77, is overall fourth.
And there you can see in the center of the screen, there is a super boat, the Jesse James. They're riding off the pace right now, just kind of getting back into offshore racing. But the Scarab Lamborghini from Sarasota, Florida is battling. He is now in fifth place. They're trying to catch Thriller for fourth. And look at those two boats. They're almost neck and neck on the course.
They're trying to survive. You know, they're just trying to make it to the end of the race.
I don't blame them. In this kind of water, that's about all you can hope to do as they come around one of the points. Here's the Jolly Rancher out of New Orleans, Louisiana. Ronnie Robert, navigator on that boat. And, of course, the driver is none other than Mike Drury.
Not getting too bad a ride in this part of the course, and he's currently leading in the modified. Jolly Rancher is in first place, and the Baja Bandit 2 is now currently in second. And not, whoop, now watch. He hits these waves kind of sideways, and when they come down, they like to come down flat down. Sometimes they come off to port side, like there. He just came down on his starboard side, and that's very dangerous. Third place is the American Dream that's gone by, but here's the Chariots of Fire in fourth place in the modified class.
They're getting quite a ride out there, too. Great shots from our helicopter crew. We certainly commend them. Here's the Bandit leading in the pro stock at this point. We continue to get reports on the radio about spectator boats on the course right now. It is definitely being considered as a danger, and as we speak, we can see one in the background go by. The Miss Don Q still going second, but it looks like there may be some problems with that boat.
Yeah, he's not running in all cylinders, to be sure. You can just see him kind of wallowing and trying to finish in second place in this race.
Still riding in third place is the Boardwalk, the Trump's Castle boat. There you see it, Nicky Coutreau. They've got a good shot now. Look at the throttle man. Watch him as he moves his hand up and down there trying to save those engines if he can.
When he goes up, if he moves it the wrong way, they'll spin that prop and cavitate, wind it up and break it.
That'll have to tell you what kind of money that involves. Triple Threat now riding in fourth place, Wayne Vincent, Bill Wright. Again, they are handling that boat beautifully. It continues to take the waves well, and they are really riding very well for a catamaran type boat.
Right now looking for Captain Maintained, and there he is. Now, what do you think of that?
Well, I'll tell you what, I think he's out of it for the day. It looks like they've definitely got some problems with those engines. I guess they're going to be pulling into the pit area here very soon. Captain Maintained is out of action for the day. Nearby in historic Gardner's Basin, the boats haven't seen action in an awful lot of years. But you know, people can come by and see them just the same. And when they do, they're going to be caught up in the history of boating as it has been on the New Jersey shore, which of course has been one of the main boating areas throughout the United States. The hulls stand as they were originally constructed. Now they have decayed away just a bit, but that adds to the mystique, if you will. Look at this, Jim. Boy, can you imagine going down underwater in one of those?
Well, it's a Pioneer sub, of course, and probably a 1 or 2 man. I'd get claustrophobia, Dick. I don't think I would.
Well, it's a great thing to look at and some memories to think about. And talking about memories,
this boat was built in Mount Clemens, Michigan by Hacker Marine John Hacker back in 1932. Was one of the first boats that the famous Guy Lombardo raced in unlimited racing.
And I might say that Guy Lombardo had a race in hydroplanes just north of where we are in Atlantic City at a place called Red Bank, New Jersey. More from the HFC Pro Series when we return.
Once upon a time in offshore ocean racing, there was always 3 men in the cockpit. One to drive and steer the boat, one to handle the throttles and the trim tabs, and one strictly for navigation to tell them which way to go. Today, in some boats, there are only 2 men, and they have to split the duty of navigation. Now let's talk to Ed Martinez, who has such a team in the Thriller, the winner of the last race. Now, Actually, when you come right down to it, Ed, you've got two jobs: steer the boat and know where you're going.
Correct. I got to do both. I'm driving the boat, and I also got to know the heading to take. Of course, in this boat with two people, Jack also helps me out with the navigation because he also knows where we're going, and he also has a compass in his station.
Jack Clark, that brings me to the point that you have intercommunications in your helmets.
That's correct.
And you concur and kind of cross-check reference each other?
Right, we cross-reference, right.
Now, what happens if you're out there at 100 mile an hour plus and you disagree?
I get his attention.
How do you get his attention? I want hazard pay. Dick?
I don't know if we can arrange that or not yet, Jim, but we'll certainly talk about it. Well, here's something else we have to talk about right now. Sal Magluta, very, very disappointed, I know, at this point, aboard the number 25 Cougar boat that was renamed. It had been the Team Seahawk boat, but right now it doesn't matter. It's out of the race. Silver Bullet has taken over first place in the open boats. Craig Berry is doing a great job at driving out there. They're having a solid day of racing.
And again, it's a deep V single-type hull that is riding this water better than the Cats.
A little bit of a battle going on here. Systems, the boat nearest you, and on the outside it's Spirit of America. You can see that the fog is closing in one more time. This haze has been a problem all day long. These two are battling now for second place.
And not only battling themselves, Dick, but battling the elements as well.
It's hard to imagine, but here you don't have to imagine at all. You can look right out of the cockpit over the shoulder of John Antonelli in the Spirit of America, number 15, as he is now in that battle for second place with ACR Systems. Here's Star Chaser, number 96. They are riding in fourth. And Jim, look at the haze now as it continues to close down the course.
Yeah, it's getting kind of dangerous now, Dick, because we're getting reports of boats that have broken loose from the spectator fleet. The racers are starting to dodge them. The checkpoints are hard to find, and the fog and patchiness is, in some parts of the course, almost not navigable.
The boats continue to race. There you see Scarab. That's the boat nearest to you on his outside. It is high velocity, taking over fourth place right now. Scarab is in fourth place and holding on. This boat out of Sarasota, Florida, but it's almost hard to see because of the haze. That visibility has gone down from 5 miles to less than half a mile now.
Now let's look at the Superboat class once again, and Popeye is still in first place, Dick.
And boy, they look like they're not in any haze at all. They're just out there having a good ride on some rough water. Popeyes is dominating in the Superboats right now. The Gentry Turbo Eagle is in second place.